Good morning and welcome to the Wednesday Winners Circle. This is our May version where we bring the best and the brightest from Bloomfield High School to come back to East Hills and share just what it takes to succeed in high school. I couldn't be more excited for the panel to introduce themselves and then kick off this event. I think before we begin, it's always important to share our mission, and that is to not only bring the best and brightest in, but to inspire us to go out and be our best, to go to the classrooms, the extracurriculars, our living rooms, and be the best versions of ourselves. And we also know that our brain is best when we're curious. So there'll be a question and answer portion of this segment. Make sure you're asking good questions, thoughtful questions, and seeing yourself in high school succeeding. Well, let's begin by introducing ourselves.
Hi, my name's Rachel Shepard.
I'm Courtney and I'm in 12th grade.
Hi, my name is Erin Williams and I'm also in 12th grade.
My name is Isaiah Woods and I'm a junior this year.
All right, thank you for that, and we're going to get to know them a lot more as this session continues. But the first thing I'd like to ask is, take yourself back to high school freshman year. Your first month in high school. What are you thinking? What advice might you give them as they're beginning to prepare their high school journey? Does anyone want to start with that? Think about your freshman year, you're the beginning of this high school journey. What thoughts might you have? Courtney?
Honestly, the building is so big, so if you're going to Bloomfield, definitely maybe go a day before and scope out your classes, because it's so overwhelming when you walk in and all your friends are there. There's so many new people to meet. And then also right away try and get involved, try and take classes that you can build relationships with teachers. And there's a student leadership class if any of you are interested. It's super fun. You get really close with everyone over 4 years, and you have to be elected, but it's super fun.
Kind of like what Courtney said, it's very overwhelming when you first get there, but they usually have a freshman orientation, so you'll have seniors walk you around the building and show you where all the classes are and show you what it's like. But also it's very important to get involved, whether that's a club, a sport, or just some type of extracurricular activity. There's so many clubs, we have from Key Club to student Latino Student Alliance. We have so many things that you can get involved in, and student leadership is a great way to get involved too, because you get behind the scenes of all the dances and you get to set up the school, and it's really fun. But yeah, it is very overwhelming, but I'd say just to make sure you stick with your friends, but also branch out a lot. And yeah.
Thank you. And Erin, you are at the IA, so your first experience was a little bit different, but I'm sure there's some similarities. We have some students going to the IA. Do you have any words of wisdom for them?
I do, yes. So when I first began at the IA, it was slightly overwhelming because, as you guys know, it's a very large mix of students, and you won't know as many people in your grade as you would if you went to BH. So for me, the first month was quite interesting. I just spent my time outside of my classes socializing, trying to say hi to people in the hallway, sparking up conversations whenever I could, just to figure out, hey, who are these people in my grade? What are their interests? And who can I align myself with? Who can I see myself being friends with? And eventually I saw myself being friends with everybody, because as you start to branch out and get to know everyone, you'll realize that everybody at the IA is very cool, very unique, and you will build great relationships with them just as long as you keep up those small conversations. Small talk goes a long way, guys.
My freshman year was a little interesting, dealing with COVID and everything, but it's very welcoming, I guess. I've never really gotten lost. It's a big school, but you'll figure it out. It's one big circle. It's really simple. But then it's a lot of dealing about yourself and thinking about yourself when you get to high school, because it's a whole new space, right? You have your friends here and everything, but when you get to high school, everything's a little bit different. You can find new friends. You can determine who you're going to be. Are you going to be a high honor student? Or are you just going to have fun with your friends? You can decide that much. So being in high school is a lot different. It's really comforting to know that you can have new friends and new experiences. So
okay, thank you. And I heard a common thread of getting involved with activities. Would you guys mind sharing a little bit of the activities and clubs that you are involved in? Maybe some of the teachers' names that are the moderators or the club sponsors, and just tell them a little bit about your journeys.
Yeah, so since freshman year, I've been in student leadership. I actually started that with Mr. Masucci at this school. And then I started in National Honor Society, which you can run for and try and get into. It's like a big club, and you don't really do a ton, but it's super cool to still be a part of it. And then I've done lacrosse, golf. I started a community service club, which was super fun, with Mrs. La Liberty. She also does NHS and student leadership. And I did debate club with Miss Mitchell.
So I've been on the lacrosse team for 4 years, a varsity lacrosse player for 4 years, and I've been a captain for 2 years, so I've been very involved with that. I've been in student leadership since sophomore year, and that's a fantastic class to get involved in, because like I said, you get behind the scenes of like everything. I've been in newspaper. This is my first year in newspaper, but it's really fun. Miss Matz is an amazing mentor. She helps you with college applications and all that stuff. I'm also in community service club, and I was also in math club for a little bit. Math isn't my strongest suit, but it definitely helps. But yeah, just get involved in your school. You'll make so many friends in so many different groups.
Thank you. Yep, I've also taken on a couple of leadership roles in clubs. Currently, I am also in student leadership, which I started with Mr. Masucci here. I've been a part of that, a class officer for 4 years now. I'm captain of our Peer Corps Club, which is a club that is supposed to introduce new freshman students to the building and make sure that everyone gets acquainted with one another before the year starts. And there are many other clubs if you're not really interested in leadership or sports. One way that I help out our community is I am a volunteer physics, math, and Spanish tutor. So those are our honor society clubs for those subjects, and you don't have to be a leader in those clubs. You can just be there to help the underclassmen if they need it. And that's been a really rewarding role to get to see everyone progress in their classes.
I will be a 3-year varsity football player in the fall of this year, and I started the Agape Club this summer, and it's a really cool opportunity that I have to teach people about my own faith, and we do lots of community service and try to teach and spread like happiness and joy around and make sure everybody's cool. And I think I'm in NHS this year. I was just inducted in the spring. I don't know, there's a couple other things, but those are the major ones.
Thank you. Thank you. We'd like to open this up for some questions and answers. So think about some things that you have on your mind as you're going to begin your high school career. Mrs. Rowe's going to be over here. She has a microphone. I'll be over here. And we're going to let you guys take over as some big players of this session here. So let's begin our question and answer. Does anyone have any questions for this panel? Thank you. When you have a question, please stand, say your name, and then your question.
Hi, my name is Skylar. What's the hardest part of high school?
The hardest part of high school.
Okay, for me, the hardest part of high school is actually planning out your schedule. So you get a course selection sheet, and there are so many different courses you can take. So whether that's a language, like an art, math, they have so many different classes to choose from. So it's very overwhelming at first, but if you really want to know like what you're passionate about, like in school, then like that'll help you a lot. But definitely the course selection sheet is very hard.
Yeah, there's a lot of different options. I definitely recommend like taking health and like some of your gen eds, like the required classes like in art your freshman year. Before you want to take like more classes that you can apply for and get elected into, like student leadership, newspaper, yearbook. There's like a variety of so many different classes that you can take. But the hardest part for me was probably getting used to like teachers' grading systems. They're not really as forgiving as middle school. Not to like scare you, but like make sure you make the relationships with teachers so that they know you and know your face and like know that your work ethic and yeah.
Okay, so So at the IA, things are a little bit different as it pertains to the course schedule. We don't get a lot of freedom to choose different electives. So where you guys have like newspaper, or I think is jewelry making a class too? Yeah. We don't really get that. We focus on our IB curriculum subjects, so that'll be like math, biology, chemistry, physics, and literature, like core classes. So we don't really have to choose your course selection. The easy part is done. So I think the hardest part is time, like managing your time in a way that's effective so that you can get all of your classwork done as well as do those extracurriculars that you've been involved in. So for me, when I started at the IA, I practiced martial arts, so I had to figure out how to do martial arts as well as making sure I had time to get my homework done, making sure I had time to study for certain tests. And that was difficult for the first few months, but once you get the hang of it, it becomes second nature for you to be able to plan your time accordingly.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. And there's a lot of things that you can get caught up in, and there's a lot of like times where you're like, oh, I don't really feel like doing this project that's probably due tomorrow, but I probably should. I should have thought about this like a week ago. But like you have to manage your time because like some people are playing sports, some people have a job. Like it can get quite difficult, and the classes are crazy. Like forensic science is a class. Like
Yeah, that's favorite ones.
Yeah. Have you taken it?
Yeah.
I have not. Like
It's a
I really
great
want
class.
to.
Highly
Oceans
recommend.
and weather, it's cool too.
Oceans and weather. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to take some of those, but they're fun.
Okay, great question. How about someone over here? Any questions? Thank you.
My name is Isaac, and like, how is like the homework load there? Like, what is like the scale of it? And like, if it's like a large load of homework, how do you like manage that with anything else you have?
Okay. I can probably say comfortably that I've had one of the largest homework loads out of this group at the IA. It's very manageable. In terms of time, I think over the past 4 years, I've averaged maybe 2 hours of homework a night. Some days it's like 6 hours, some days it's 20 minutes. It really varies depending on, if you have any upcoming tests or if you have to prepare for maybe the SAT on the side. It really varies throughout the 4 years that you're in high school. I think that when the homework load gets extremely heavy, if it's ever to the point where I feel like I am jeopardizing like my mental health, I always reach out to my teachers. That's where it's important to build those relationships with your teachers, because a lot of teachers are very understanding that you are a high school student and you have like 10 other things to do besides their class. So if you build that relationship and you reach out to them via email, you can say, hi, I know that this assignment is due tomorrow, but I am just really overwhelmed right now. I was wondering if I could have an extension. If you reach out and make those connections, in my experience, teachers often will grant you an extension if you need one. Besides that, if I know my homework load is going to be heavy throughout the week, I prepare myself for that. So I make sure that any project work I need to get done or studying, I get done beforehand, so I can plan time to work on my homework. I find that if I block out maybe 2 hours each day to do my homework, everything that I need to get done gets done. And it's never bad to do homework in advance. I know for some classes in high school, the structure stays the same, so you can kind of guess at what the homework is going to be for the next couple nights. Sometimes I'll do an assignment before it's assigned. I know it sounds weird, like why would you do that? But it helps a lot, because if you're in the zone and you're able to get that done, you will thank yourself in the future.
I think like at our school at least, there's a couple things that are put in place to help you with your homework. So there's a class called ID, or interdisciplinary. And when you're a freshman and a sophomore, it's basically a class that allows you to do your homework and allows you to talk to your teachers, because they don't want you to have too much to do. And then we have something called advisory. So a Wednesday, each Wednesday in the week, we have an hour or two set aside to do our homework and talk to teachers as well. And then I think there's one more thing. Oh no, I'm forgetting it. Oh, the structure of our classes. So we have 4 classes on one day and then 4 classes on another. So your homework is stretched out between 2 days. So if you know that you're having a bunch of homework, you can start it and then you can finish it in 2 days. It's not too bad.
Yeah, honestly, homework has been pretty manageable. Obviously, like studying for tests gets a little harder, but you can also spread that out, make Quizlets like on the weekend, then study them a little bit each day. It makes it so much more manageable. And again, reaching out to teachers. Teachers can be really forgiving about that, especially if you've built that relationship with them and they know you want to work hard, but like maybe you just have so much going on, or like something happened in your family or with your friends. Like they're really understanding about that. So yeah.
I think teachers at Bloomfield are very flexible and they're very understanding, and honestly they put our mental health first. So I think they're really good about that. Like Erin said, if you talk to your teachers, I highly recommend talking to them in person rather than an email. I think it just like face-to-face just is always the better option personally. But they also have, a lot of my teachers at least have daily agendas. So for example, if you miss a day of school, you check the daily agenda, boom, everything's right there. Because a lot of things, do they use Canvas or do they use Google Classroom?
Google Classroom.
Okay, so there's this thing called Canvas that you'll use at Bloomfield, and it's very similar to Google Classroom, but it's very, very organized. So it literally gives you like a planner in the app. So it's this thing called a dashboard. So all the dates of when each assignment is assigned and due is on there for you, and that's very, very helpful. So you know when it's due, what time it's due, how many points it is, all that stuff. So that's really helpful. Daily agendas are really helpful because all the teacher, like all your links and everything are right there. But homework, I personally don't get too much homework, but I also am very good with my time. If my teacher gives me 20 minutes in the classroom to work on my homework, I take advantage of that, and I highly recommend you do too, because by the time you get home, you're going to be exhausted, and especially when you start driving, you're going to be even more exhausted. So I just highly recommend using your time wisely.
One of the things I heard in a lot of our answers is relationships, especially relationships with your teachers. Can you share with us, how do you develop those relationships? These teachers have so many students, they have so many classes. How do you develop a personal relationship with your teachers? How do you go about that? And maybe even mention some of the teachers that you have bonded with, and tell us a little bit about some of the teachers they may have.
Well, like I kind of just said, a lot of my teachers at least give us like a few extra minutes at the end of class we have long classes, we have 90-minute classes, so the teachers give us a good amount of time to work on stuff. And if you finish your work early, like instead of like watching YouTube videos or like Netflix on your phone, like have a conversation with your teacher, ask them questions about the future, because like the teachers who wrote my letter of recommendations, I didn't just pick a random teacher to write my letter. Like I chose a teacher who I really connected with, who I had for 3 years. I had him 3 years in a row. And like building a relationship with your teacher is very important, because like I said, the teachers really care about your mental health, but if you also build a relationship with your teacher and like they know about like your family or like stuff that's going on at home, like they're a lot more understanding. But I think building relationships with your teachers is also getting involved, because a lot of teachers are in charge of the clubs too. So if you're in a club and you also have them in the classroom and all that stuff. Mrs. La Liberty, as our student leadership teacher, she's very involved in like all of our lives. Like she really cares about her students, and she really pushes us to do our best. So she's a prime example. Miss Matz, like I said, in newspaper. In newspaper, we have a lot of time to write articles. So she's always talking, asking us questions, like coming up with just like ways for us to get close with her, but also like the whole class to get close. So.
Yeah, exactly what Rachel said. And like since classes are so long, like teachers will kind of just walk around, get to know you guys. Like if you're sitting kind of closer to them, like sometimes sitting in the front of the class is actually a good thing. Like you'll get to meet your teachers and get them to know on a personal level. Like I know Mr. Thomas, like we talk all the time. Like I sit in the front of his class and like we don't really have much to do because our AP is over. But you know, he's always interested. What are we doing? Like, what do you want to study? Where do you want to go to college? Like, how is it? And again, Mrs. La Liberty, she's like involved in so many things. She has so many different clubs that I've gotten to like really work with her, and like we've connected ideas that have really like turned out so well. So yeah, just try and get involved in like also clubs that you know that teachers can be really influential. Like you'll know the teachers that will really go the extra mile for you, and those are the people that you want to write like your letter of recommendations.
My best bit of advice for making relationships is, it kind of goes with knowing yourself So if you know your interests and you have a favorite subject, for example, my favorite subject is science, and I was fortunate enough to have my biology teacher for 3 years in a row. Her name is Mrs. Monk at the IA. She's fantastic. I've been able to build a great relationship with her just by asking questions about the content that are kind of outside the box. Like, they're not really pertaining to the curriculum. They're just things that I wanted to know personally because I really am interested in biology and I like that subject. For subjects that you maybe aren't so interested in, I would say it is important to still just, ask questions, and they don't have to be about the subject. You can always ask your teacher, like, hi, how's your day going today before you start class, just to, get some gears going, make sure they know your face, make sure they know, like, hey, that's a student that's interested in my mental health too. Because I think what students tend to forget sometimes is teachers are people too. They're people before they're teachers, right? That's crazy. Teachers have lives and they have things that are going on. So if you want to check in on your teacher's mental health, make sure they're okay, then I think that goes a long way for your teacher, and it goes a long way in starting to make that relationship with them, no matter what subject they teach.
Yeah, I think that's really important. Like, I will ask my teacher, not when we're doing something, but like when we're in work time, we'll be like, Miss Small, what's your favorite flavor ice cream? Like, just something stupid. Just because, like, I know that they're people. Both my parents are teachers, and I know that they appreciate students that, want to interact with them. So that's one thing. And I think my teacher, the teacher that is going to write my letter of recommendation, I spent a lot of time in her class asking questions that maybe are not taught, like speaking about the content specifically, but like something about her opinion on something, or I'll ask her about a specific topic. It doesn't have to be super strict, but I think teachers appreciate that.
So we've discussed going into high school, getting involved, building relationships, being proactive in our planning. Let's talk a little bit about your future. How did high school prepare you for what's next? Where you're going and what you're excited for and all those things. And I'd also like to encourage you guys, we have just a few more minutes for if you have a question for this panel. So we do have some questions. Let's get to them first, and then we'll get to where we're going later. So Mrs. Rowe is going to go over, and she has the mic.
Hi, so my name is Emmanuel, and at East Hills, what was one teacher that really inspired you to be the person that you are today? And what are some of your plans after high school, like colleges, universities?
So honestly, I've connected with a lot of teachers at East Hills. Mrs. Rowe is a good example. Mr. Masucci is a good example. Mr. McConnell is a good example. Mrs. Rowe, we did the Team Glenn t-shirts and stuff, and we raised money for Glenn Cabell, and she just my friend and I had the idea, and she was just all over the idea, and she's the one who took charge and really made it all happen. So I look at her as a huge inspiration, as if you have an idea, just go for it, because even if you don't think it might be the best idea, just go for it. It could end up being one of the best things we've ever done. So I look at Mrs. Rowe as a very prime example of that. And then my plans after high school, I'm going to Michigan State University, and I will be studying marketing. So I'm very excited for that, and I will come back and visit Mrs. Rowe because she is a Spartan as well.
Honestly, starting 8th grade, I made such a good connection with Mr. McConnell. We'll still go see him after this. I don't know, he's one of the best teachers ever. And then every single one of my 8th grade teachers are people that I'll still talk to all the time. Anytime they reach out, or I reach out, or I see them somewhere, I always go say hi. They're truly the best. Mr. Dorchuk tutors me. Mr. Masucci got me started in leadership. Mrs. Rowe has had all of my siblings, so we've just connected from there. And I was able to do, over quarantine, we did this, Big Buddies of Bloomfield, and so I got to work with her kids, and, we talked and did games and stuff, and yeah, so honestly, best teachers. And then I'm going to Michigan State University in the Broad Business School and studying business management.
Mr. Dorchuk's name made the Winners Circle. That's striking.
We should set
Do you
this
have,
up.
For sure.
Yeah, I would have to give a big shout out to Mr. Dorchak. I was in his algebra class his last year here. It's one of the best classes of my life. But I think all of the teachers I've had at Ace Hills have been fantastic. I still use Mr. Masucci's quote, choose the hard right over the easy wrong. It pops in my mind at least once a week.
Oh, yeah.
When I have to do some big homework assignments. But shout out to Mrs. Rowe, because I learned a lot in her literature class. I learned more about how to write and how to really analyze text, and I've used that so much in high school. It's been a great experience. And a great shout out to Mrs. Mara, because she helped me pursue my passion in biology. She helped me get into a program that's hosted at Oakland University. It's called Camp Registered Nurse, and it's a really great experience. It's a 2-week opportunity where you get to, get into the shoes of first-line healthcare workers, and it was a great experience, and it helped me realize that I want to work in the medical field, for the rest of my life. So my plans for next year are I'm going to Brown University as a part of their 8-year medical program. So you get to do that track to become a doctor, and I have Ms. Mara to thank for that. So.
Yeah, you guys are really lucky. You got some really amazing teachers here. Ms. Masucci literally walked up in front of our class every day and said, with a straight face, people will walk on their hands and knees on broken glass every day to get the opportunities and things that you have. Like, every day. And I tell you right now, if I walked into school right now and all my friends meet stills, and I said that, they would finish it automatically without a second thought. And Miss Rowe, secretly got us all to read, okay? In the beginning of the year, she goes, you guys don't have to read. I know you guys are busy. I understand you have a life. And all of a sudden, we read the most we've ever read ever. And I became a better writer, and I ended, it's just so great. And Miss Mara was my algebra teacher. I did not like math at all, but I'm in honors pre-calculus right now. I don't know how. It just happened, and it's because she started me off. And there's Miss McKinder. I miss her so much. I'm about to go see her right now.
Her stories sound ridiculous, but seriously,
Who has Miss McKinder?
You will remember them forever, genuinely.
Does she still give the crazy stories? Yeah. Isn't it so much easier to learn like that though? Yeah. Isn't it great? It's you guys are really cool, and I appreciate you a lot. And I am a junior, so I do not know where I'm going in the next 2 years, but I do plan on applying to Case Western and Purdue. I'm planning on going into medicine as well, so I can learn from Erin over here.
Thank you for that. More questions? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sloan, and I was wondering how time management is taking AP and IB classes.
Time management. Does anyone want to take that? Thank you.
Yeah. So it's like an art. It really takes practice to get the hang of doing time management effectively. What I find super helpful, I'm not sure if you guys have these now, is having a planner or some sort of planning app on your phone where you can say, I have all of these things to do and I have until these dates to get them done. When I have that planned out, it's really easy to just prioritize, because I can say, oh, I have this assignment that's due next week, and then I have this assignment that's due in 2 days. So I can start to kind of, schedule my workout. I'll do the assignment that's due first. I start working on that first. If I don't feel like doing it, I'll say, okay, but I set a reminder for myself to do it later that day. So it's about knowing what's comfortable for you. You have to know exactly how to organize yourself. It's different for everybody. Some people use pen and paper. I use my phone. It's about knowing where you're going to be at your best while you're studying. For me, I have a desk in my room, and I find that a really comforting spot. I light a candle, make myself, feel at home, and then I get to work. I don't really like working in groups because I'm a talkative person, and I will get distracted if I'm working with my friends a lot. So when they ask me, I'm like, hey, do you want to study for this test? I'm like, you know what? Let me study by myself first, make sure I know everything, and then I'll come study with you guys, because I don't know if a lot of learning takes place at those group study sessions. And then it's also a matter of knowing you have to be resourceful if you're going to master time management, because there will be a point where you're working on an assignment and you're like, I have no idea what's happening. You pay attention in class, you get it then, and then you get home and it disappears. So you have to know, how to reach out to your teachers, how to use the resources that they give you effectively. If you have a textbook, you have to, pick it up, read it. It has some great material in there. If you have your Google Classroom or Canvas class, you can always double check, see if they posted anything that might help you. Or if you know upperclassmen at your high school, if you've made those relationships, I know usually upperclassmen are more than willing to help if you need help on an assignment or if you need help in getting any information you need, whether that's with homework or with extracurriculars, with any sort of club. So it's all about, knowing yourself, knowing what's best for you, knowing the people around you and knowing where to get help, and then also knowing how you're going to focus when you're studying. And you will be able to manage your time if you know all of those things.
I was really not good at time management like freshman year, like really bad. And it's not a good thing, because I think I was lucky that COVID happened, because we were able to give them a little cushion as far as like our assignments and making sure we got everything in on time. But I would really suggest you guys like get like a way to organize all of your stuff. Like, so in middle school, like you can have one binder for all of your classes, but like I would suggest like making sure you have specific things that you put in, like in specific places, so things don't get lost, things don't get missing, and like set reminders, set timers, have a calendar, because like it can get quite busy, especially when you're playing a sport. You get home like 5-6 o'clock, you do not feel like doing your homework, and you're like barely alive. So you should really like find a way to like, okay, well I know I have this to get done tonight. So that's part of it.
May I say, naps are not
Oh
just
my
for
goodness,
kindergartners.
yes.
Naps are for high schoolers.
You appreciate
too.
naps so much
Take
more.
a nap every
Every
day.
day, every day.
You can take a nap. It's okay.
It's just recharging, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to add to that?
Yeah. You asked about AP and IB classes, right? So you can either do at Bloomfield, you can do like heavily AP, not a ton of AP, or you can do a few IBs, or you can do the full IB program. The IB program is very advanced. It's a lot of work. You'll take about 10 tests, I think, at the end of your senior year, it's a lot of work, but if you're really driven to be an academically like heavy on the academics, like definitely go that route. But you can also take a few of the classes, like I'm in IB Spanish, and like it's awesome. I've taken a lot of AP classes. I've taken like 5, and I've spread them out throughout like the years, so it makes a lot more. You just gotta kind of know yourself and know where you're strong, and like take an AP class in the areas that you're really interested in. You'll want to like learn more, and then
So AP classes, you definitely want to spread them out, because you don't want to go from no AP classes to 5 AP classes, because we have like even and odd days, so you could have like 3 AP classes all on one day and nothing on the other day, so you don't want that. I took 2 AP classes last year, and I took 1 this year, and I think it was like perfectly spread out, and I'm in 1 IB class. But something I would say for AP classes is they pile on the work. Like, I'm not gonna lie, they pile it on. Like AP psychology, you have like, it's a lot of busy work, it's a lot of note taking. But personally, I don't like to use like Google Docs for note taking. One of my teachers told me one time that if you like write something down, or if you say it out loud 5 times, like you'll memorize it like that. So I personally, what I do is I write down, it hurts your hand, but I write down all of my notes, because if you're just looking at a screen, you're already looking at your screen like all day. You're already looking at your phone all the time. If you write down your notes on pad and paper, like you'll most likely remember it. So I would say that just be very organized and work ahead. Like we've all been saying, like they have daily agendas. Like your teachers will give you a lot of time to work on it, and if you procrastinate, like
it's hard to get out of the hole.
Yeah,
it's really hard to get out of the hole.
It's hard to get motivation. So just work ahead, take good quality notes, and like work like for yourself. Like if you're taking an AP class, it is literally a college course, so it is preparing you for college. And if you treat that course like it's just another class, then you're not going to succeed. So.
Can I add something? Absolutely. Awesome. Yeah, so like Rachel said, you can take AP or IB classes. At IA, your entire curriculum is like all IB classes, and it is, what Rachel just said is so important. You have to work for yourself, and you don't just work for the class. I know in middle school sometimes the mentality towards getting your work done is just that. It's like, I have to get this done, I'm gonna just do it and turn it in. Like, no, when you're in high school, you wanna more so work to understand the content and make sure that it's content that you're gonna, retain. make sure that you fully understand the curriculum so that when finals come, you know exactly, what to study, what you know and what you don't know. For the IB curriculum at IA, like Rachel said, I'm sorry, I don't know if it was Rachel or Courtney, but we do take a lot of tests at the end of the year. It's called the IB exams, and I'm in the middle of taking those right now. In fact, I got a biology test today. But it is really important that you are understanding the fundamentals of your coursework, and that when you're doing that and, doing your time management, you're also, making time for yourself to make those review materials while you're going over the content. It's a great way to make sure you understand the content, and it's a great way to make sure you don't have to work super hard to study by the time finals roll around. For IB finals, they're a little bit different because they cover a course or content over 2 years, your junior and senior year, instead of just one. So it is definitely important to make sure that you understand it, and when the time comes, you'll be able to recall it.
Thank you. Well, time has come to an end with this great panel. I'd like to conclude with maybe just very briefly one piece of advice you might give this great group in front of us. Think about your 8th grade year. So we're in, obviously it's May, they're about to go to Washington, D.C. They're about to have
So much fun.
They're about to have their 8th grade breakfast. They're about to have their 8th grade dance. So all of this is coming to an end.
Wait, what?
It's not- what is it? 8th grade celebration. So
I want to say, this is what?
Yeah. We didn't
I
get that.
misspoke on that one. So how about just real quickly, just one little kernel of advice you might give this group?
Okay, wait, I have 2 actually, sorry. Again, get involved with your teachers, get involved, just put yourself out there, it'll really pan out for you. It makes this big school feel so much smaller when you just become a part of a club. And also, don't worry about friends, it's really hard, everyone kind of just goes off and meets new people, it's okay, friends will kind of come and go, especially freshman year. It's a big transition year. Just kind of take it with a grain of salt.
One piece of advice I would give all of you is to be your own person, because a lot of times in high school, it's 3 different middle schools plus more merging all into one. You're going to meet a lot of people who are different than you, and you're going to meet a lot of people who have more experience than you in a lot of different fields. Be your own person. So don't rush, don't become someone who you're not just so that you can go to parties and all this stuff. Be your own person, and eventually you will find your group. The person I'm best friends with right now, I just got close with her over spring break. So things happen, there's gonna be drama, there's gonna be a lot of stuff with friends and all that stuff, but just be your own person and everything will fall into place.
My best bit of advice is that you have to treat high school like a journey. I know a lot of people may think, I have to get from point A to point B. Point A being starting high school, point B being finishing it. But it's 4 years. It's a long time, and it's a really it's a significant period of your life. So you should try to enjoy every experience that comes with it. Try to enjoy every class. Try to get involved to a point where you were really curious about it. You're asking questions, and you're doing it more so for yourself instead of just getting it done. And in that, you'll also find that you're going to find your friends. You're going to find those people who have curiosities that align with yours, who have interests that align with yours. Make sure you're enjoying those people too, because they're all part of the journey. You don't want to spend all of your time just, in a book, and you don't want to spend all of your time slacking off in your classes. So you have to find that balance, and you have to enjoy both of those things as you go out through high school.
Yeah, I think my one bit of advice is you get to decide how your high school experience goes and how that high school experience affects your college and the rest of your life. You have brand new teachers, brand new friends. I think it's really important that you think about it. The decisions that you're making your freshman year might impact you the entire rest of your life. I'm not I have friends that just did not do anything freshman year because COVID was difficult, I understand, and their GPA kind of suffered because of that. It's important that you focus your freshman year, you started all that. I think that's my bit of advice.
Thank you. Great wisdom from this panel. How about a big round of applause for this group? We can't thank you enough. Now it's on us to take this advice and go onward to high school with an abundance of hope. Thank you. Have a good morning.
Thank you.